I'm very grateful to the people that follow me on Twitter, and I follow them because I believe there's a lot of savvy Yankee fans out there. And, sometimes when somebody makes a comment, or asks me a question, I always, feel that, there's a lot.
There's been a lot going on, a lot of decision making, and a lot of second guessing that you could do.
Yeah, or however you want to work it. But
Right.
Dave Huber sent me a comment, and he said, "Hi, Mike." He said, "One thing I want to see from the Yanks this year is better play on the road. 40-41 last year in a regular season. They were the only playoff team with a losing record on the road. And they were 1-6 in the postseason. The Yanks got knocked out in the ALCS, and it was on the road. And just as Dave said, they were 1-6 in the postseason. He goes on to say, that's not the work of a champion as far as I'm concerned. And
But isn't the axiom you just have to play 500 on the
Yeah.
road and kill it at home?
Yeah, kill it at home, to a degree. But again, Dave brings up an interesting stat where the Yankees were the only playoff team to have a losing record. So I said, let me, it got me thinking. And I said, let me kind of play with
There's
this
a
a little
reason
bit
for
and
that,
see what it is. And so Dave, and I thank you for the comment and the question. And I would say, there's a few things. One, they were a very young team last year. And young players play better at home than on the road. So that's one thing. Another thing is all Yankee fans remember there were more than one West Coast trip from hell. The one that I recall was in mid-June. We're flying high. We go on the road, and all of a sudden Matt Holliday comes down with this weird, I don't know what kind of viral infection he had, whatever the case may be. So he was, he was, an integral part of the team, and I'll get to him in a minute. But so now he comes out of the lineup, but also the bullpen falls apart completely. If you remember Kyle Clippard, Yankee fans were like losing their mind with that, and Warren goes on to the DL, and Chapman was struggling. So Dave, that would be another thing that I would say was a little bit of misfortune that when we were flying high, a little bit of injury and a little assortment of things. But the more I kind of rolled up my sleeve and looked at your comment and all of that, another thing that jumped out at me was how dominant the Yankees were at home and why. Aaron Judge was an absolute beast at home. But what I believe is, and it gets back to when I was talking about Matt Holliday, I believe that the right-handed batters last year had this, again, and I talked about it, many times, but right, they had the ability to go oppo. They took advantage of the short porch, and it was Aaron Judge, and it was Sanchez, and Holliday, who I mentioned, and Castro, and Tyler Austin. Went on and on. But there were a lot of players, and we'll go over to our next graphic if we can. And again, I wrote a column before the season started, and I called it "Opposites Attract." And what I was saying for a number of years is this might be a different approach, especially because of the advent of the shift. By hitting to the opposite field, by hitting to all fields, what you do is you negate that draining effect of the shift, just tearing apart the batting averages of the entire lineup. So what I want to do is I just want to mention Aaron Judge specifically, and consider this, ladies and gentlemen. Last year at home, he batted .312 for the entire season, 33 home runs at Yankee Stadium. That set a franchise record. And when you set a franchise record for home runs at Yankee Stadium, you're talking that's a Ruthian task. If, no pun intended. Pun intended. Like that. Away from home, he was batting .256. Some would talk about the shoulder, and they said because I pointed this out, that before the All-Star game, he was batting .329, and after the All-Star game, he was batting .228. Consider this, ladies and gentlemen. Here's an interesting stat. In September, Aaron Judge batted .311. And you know why? Because they played almost every game at home at Yankee Stadium in September. I remember talking about that. So what I'm trying to say, Dave, is that they played so well at home for a reason. And when it wasn't, at home, it was a little bit more of a difficulty for them. But they'll be able to adjust without question. But you fast forward to this year, and to bolster my point, and Anthony, again, you recall that in 2000, I'm pulling my hair out in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, ladies and gentlemen, the Yankees, they spent $500 million in 2014. In 2015, they did not have one position player who was a right-handed batter. Just think about that for a second. Now look at what you got. We're almost two right-handed, okay? Now look at what we did this year. We go out and get Giancarlo Stanton. All right, it's a no-brainer because it was. I mean, the guy's it fell into the lap, and you couldn't say no.
Right.
But also think about this, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a closed stance, and in the second half, he went on a tear, almost like really auditioning for Yankee Stadium in that short porch in right. And this guy is just one more that I'm adding to a shift in philosophy by the Yankees, and now you're throwing him in. This guy is shooting the ball to right like you've never seen. So I predict, obviously, very good things for him. But even on a lay, with the play on words, Judge and Drury, because we picked up Drury, what did the Yankees like about Brandon Drury? This guy last year had 13 home runs, but he had 37 doubles. And the Yankees are projecting, and he likes to go.
Oppo.
And they're thinking, hey, some of those doubles could be going over the wall. So, I mean, are you starting to see, a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen? And that's a good thing. And again, I'm all for it because I think it is, a right way of going about it. You need balance, let's face it. But we're so excited about Didi Gregorius. We're so excited about hopefully having a healthy Greg Bird because this guy will be absolutely key to the season. With all those righties, this guy will be, hopefully batting third or somewhere in there and adding some balance. You never thought you would say, having a lefty in there to add some balance. But
I got a
go ahead.
quick question.
Yeah.
I think they asked Booney. He kind of gave a vague answer.
Right.
Said, are you going to try to balance the lineup lefty righty?
Right.
Or he said, but can you? And he said, but I might do that. He says, but can you imagine an inning, a pitcher sweating out if Judge Sanchez and Stanton are coming up trying to get through that?
Right.
In a row,
especially in the first inning.
Do you have a preference, or you'd rather see them, lefty
I
righty?
think
Matter.
I think what we're going to see is, because it looks like they're doing it a lot in spring training. I think obviously Gardner leading off, but I think you're going to see Judge batting second, and you're going to see Giancarlo batting third because they want to get both of those monsters up in the first inning before the pitcher gets the feel of the mound or breaks a sweat or whatever the case may be.